Hello everyone and welcome to the online lecture series by Shet Vidya Mandir English High School and Junior College of Science and Commerce. Myself Jayesh Rajgor and today we are going to study 12th Standard Economics New Syllabus Chapter number 5 Forms of Market. Yes my dear students, in the previous video lectures we have studied about market. Market is generally understood as a particular place or locality where goods are sold and purchased. But in economics, market refers to an arrangement through which buyers and sellers come in contact with each other directly or indirectly, and exchange of goods and services takes place among them. My dear students, we also saw classification of market on the basis of place, time, competition. My dear students, according to Augustine Carnot, economists understand the term market not any particular marketplace in which things are bought and sold, but the whole of any region in which buyers and sellers are in such a close contact with one another that the prices of the same goods tend to equality easily and quickly. Thus, market is a network of dealings between potential buyers and potential sellers at any point of time. A market will exist if there are buyers and sellers, a product or a service to be bought and sold, price of the product, close contact between buyer and seller, and most importantly, my dear students, knowledge about market. And thus, market can be classified on the basis of place, time, and competition. My dear students, on the basis of place, market is classified as local market, national market, and international market. Local market is a market in which sellers sell and customers buy a product in the region or area in which it is produced. Yes, my dear students, remember, in the region or area in which it is produced. Similarly, a national market is a domestic market in a given country. Each national market is governed by the regulation of its own country, whereas the international market is a worldwide market in which buyers and sellers trade in goods and services across the national borders. When we talk about classification of market on the basis of time, my dear students, it is classified as very short period, long period, and very long period market. Here, very short period is a period in which supply is fixed and price is determined by the demand. Yes, my dear students, price is determined by the demand. The time period is for a few days or weeks in which the supply of a commodity cannot be increased, and that is why it is a very short period market. Moving on to the short period market. Short period is a period of less than 1 year. In this period, firms can only make adjustments in inputs like labor to increase the supply of goods and services. So, the market type is short period. Moving on to the long period. Remember, long run is a period of time in which all factors of production and cost are variable in the long run. Firms are able to adjust all costs. It is for a few years, generally, my dear students, up to 5 years. So, in this case, remember, generally up to 5 years. Lastly, very long period. Remember, very long period is a production time that is so long that all inputs are variable. It is of more than 5 years. So, very short period. Remember, my dear students, the time period is for few days or weeks. Short period is less than 1 year. Long period, remember, it is for few years, generally 5 years, and very long period, my dear students, it is more than 5 years. Moving on to the main part of the chapter, that is classification of market on the basis of competition. Remember, my dear students, classified as perfect competition and imperfect competition. My dear students, imperfect competition is further classified into monopoly, oligopoly, and monopolistic competition. Let us learn something about perfect competition today. In short, if we try to exclaim them, perfect competition is ideal but imaginary concept, whereas imperfect competition has some features of competitive market. Perfect competition. My dear students, everything seems to be very perfect in this type of a competitive market. Remember, such type of a market is ideal but an imaginary concept. Perfect competition is an ideal and imaginary concept of market rather than an actual market. According to Ms. John Robinson, perfect competition prevails when the demand for the output of each producer is perfectly elastic. Yes, my dear students, perfectly elastic. A perfectly competitive market is one in which the number of buyers and sellers is very large. All the buyers and sellers are engaged in buying and selling a homogeneous product. This is a very key point to remember. Homogeneous product means identical. Yes, my dear students, there are a large number of sellers and buyers. Under perfect competition, as mentioned earlier, each seller forms a negligible part in the total market. Hence, none of them is in position to influence the price and supply in the market. Thus, sellers are price takers under perfect competition. Moreover, both buyers and sellers possess perfect knowledge of market condition. My dear students, the buyers and sellers possess perfect knowledge about market conditions. Every seller and buyer has the knowledge about price, quality, source of supply of products, etc. Also, there is perfect mobility of factors of production here. There is perfect mobility of factors under perfect competition. Labor and capital are mobile, not only geographically but also occupationally. Also, one more important point makes this type of a market completely imaginary. That is, absence of transport cost. In perfect competition, price is uniform because we assume that transport cost does not exist. This assumption will lead to uniformity in price. So, that is why the sellers are selling at a single price. Also, a most important thing to be noted here is there is no government intervention and thus there is laissez-faire policy. It is an important feature of perfect competition. It means there is absence of government intervention in economic activities. My dear students, let us now understand price determination under perfect competition. Yes, a very important point. Remember demand and supply? Yes, the interaction of demand and supply determines price of the commodity in perfect competition. Yes, my dear students, demand and supply, two very important market forces. If you study demand, it is essential that you understand supply also. If you understand supply, it is essential to understand demand also. Both these act as very important market forces to determine prices of commodity. And thus it is said the interaction of demand and supply determine price of the commodity in perfect competition. And this, my dear students, is known as equilibrium price. Yes, equilibrium price, measuring price. Marshall has compared the process of price determination to the cutting of cloth with a pair of scissors. As you can see, my dear students, just as both the blades of scissors are required to cut the cloth, both the forces of demand and supply are essential to determine the equilibrium price in the market. The example makes this very simple. As both the scissors blade are important to cut the cloth, similarly only demand or only supply alone cannot determine the equilibrium price. Both forces of demand and supply are essential to determine the equilibrium price in the market. Yes, my dear students, here is a schedule and a diagram which clearly explains us what exactly demand and supply do to determine equilibrium price and how exactly they do it. Here you can see four important columns: price per kg of apples in rupees, quantity demanded in kg, quantity supplied in kg, relationship between DD and SS, that is demand curve, and the supply curve. As you can see, my dear students, at price 100, quantity demanded is 5000 kg, whereas quantity supplied is 1000 kg. Here, demand is greater than supply. Similarly, as the price increases from 100 to 200, the quantity demanded decreases from 5000 to 4000, whereas quantity supplied increases from 1000 to 2000, and that is why DD once again is greater than the supply. But when the price further increases to 300, quantity demanded here is 3000 kg, whereas quantity supplied is also 3000 kg. Here DD is equal to SS, that is demand is absolutely equal to supply. This is our equilibrium price, my dear students. Further, the rise in price reduces demand and increases supply, as we have studied in law of demand and law of supply. Respectively, both the forces work. In the diagram, you can see x-axis shows the quantity demanded and quantity supplied, whereas the y-axis shows price in rupees per kg. If you remember the diagrams for law of demand and law of supply, this is a combination of both, where you can see at point E, where the interaction between demand and supply happens, E becomes the equilibrium point. My dear students, so it is very clear. When price rises from rupees 100 to rupees 200, quantity demanded falls from 5000 kgs to 4000 kgs, whereas supply increases from 1000 kgs to 2000 kgs. This is because demand falls with rise in price and supply rises with a rise in price. This is the stage where demand is greater than supply. Moving further, when price rises to rupees 300, quantity demanded and quantity supplied become equal, that is 3000 kg. Now this is the point to remember. This is the stage of equilibrium where demand and supply become equal. DD is equal to SS. Hence, rupees 300 becomes the equilibrium price. When price further rises from rupees 400 to rupees 500, demand falls from 2000 kgs to 1000 kgs, and supply rises from 4000 kgs to 5000 kgs. Thus, supply becomes greater than demand. My dear students, the diagram as well explains us the same thing. Here, the point to remember is DD is the downward sloping demand curve, which shows inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded, whereas the SS is the upward supply curve, which shows direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. E is the equilibrium point where DD and SS curve intersect with each other. Accordingly, rupees 300 is the equilibrium price and 3000 kgs is the equilibrium quantity demanded and supplied. This equilibrium price is determined by market demand and market supply. So, hopefully, my dear students, with the help of this schedule and diagram, we today understand the concept of price determination under perfect competition. In the next video, We'll come further with some more interesting answers from chapter number 5, Forms of Market. Till then, stay connected, stay safe. Thank you very much.